Welcome to the Newsome MMA Podcast, partnered with Concussion Pro 1, the world's first dedicated concussion supplement. I'm your host as always, Newsome, and tonight I'm joined by UFC Middleweight Ian, the Hurricane Heinisch, ahead of his fight against Tom Breese at UFC London on March 16th. Ian, thank you for joining me tonight. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Pleasure's all mine, man. So, to kick things off, I just want to talk about your last fight, your UFC debut against Cesar Mutanch Ferreira. You took the fight against a very dangerous UFC veteran on short notice, and you flew over to Argentina for that fight too. The decision was a comfortable one. You look fantastic. How much confidence does this give you leading into this fight against Tom Breese?
Yeah, it's huge, and it's just good to get those UFC jitters out the way and kind of just know what fight week looks like. And, it just takes a lot of the pressure off. And then to know I belong in the top 20 and, Tom Breese is hungry and he's coming up and he's kind of had a long layover. And it's just been funny how it's all worked out because Cesar was supposed to fight Tom and then Tom got hurt. I stepped in and then they were supposed to fight again and then Cesar got hurt and I'm stepping in for him. So
You've took the words right out of my mouth. This fight's been patched together as well. You've just spoken a little bit about how it's all come together now. What's your thoughts on the patch-up, and is your mentality the same right now as it was when you took that short notice fight in Argentina?
yeah, definitely. I'm excited to get this fight. I was kind of hoping to fight someone in the top 15, but I feel very comfortable fighting against Tom. I feel I'm better everywhere. I know he's not going to be just a walk in the park, but I feel very confident going into this fight, and I'm excited to go to England because I lived over there for a little while and have a bunch of friends. So it'll be a fun trip to go over there and fight another hometown guy.
Absolutely. And what were your thoughts when you received that call asking for you to fight Tom Breese in London?
Yeah, I immediately said yes. I checked him out and I kind of knew about him a little bit, and yeah, I thought it was a great matchup. And I'm not the type of guy to turn a fight down, and it makes sense for me to go out there. And like I said, I hope to. I got turned down by David Branch for January in Brooklyn, and I hope to fight him or Uriah Hall or Elias Theodore, Brunson, any of these guys. I hope to fight next. So, and climb up the rankings. But I'll take this fight for now.
For sure. So, how long have you known about this fight, Ian, and how long has your camp been for London?
I would say now I've known about this fight for about 4 or 5 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, so not too long, but I mean, I'm in the gym training super hard. I'm ready for these opportunities, fighting such a short window, and I stay ready in the gym. My diet's on point, so I'm good to go. I mean, especially if they're gonna pay me to take these short notice fights, I'll be that guy.
Absolutely. Now, as we've already mentioned, you're fighting Tom Breese, and therefore you're going to be fighting the English fighter in England. Again, we've already spoken about that as well. I know you said you've got some friends over there. Now, most fighters I talk to actually tell me that they prefer fighting in their opponent's backyards or home country. What's your preference here?
For me, it doesn't really matter. Obviously, I want to fight at home sometime or near home for my fans. Because only a handful get to come out, but I don't mind it. I go in there. It's usually a silent night because when you win, the crowd gets pretty quiet. But then, I believe they'll embrace me as one of their own. I believe I will gain a lot of British fans, and not to mention all my British fans, that all my friends and all their friends that are going to come out and support me. So, and I mean, Tom, he moved to Canada and he trains over there. So I know he was born there, but he kind of left you guys. So I don't know. I feel I'm going to go over there and gain a bunch of fans, and I don't mind fighting in someone's backyard.
It sounds good, man. Now, I just want to talk about your gym, Factory X. Factory X was on an absolute tear last year and was one of the most talked about gyms by the end of 2018. What's the atmosphere like in camp right now?
Yeah, it's great. We're expanding the gym right now. Actually, it's under construction. We're doubling the mat space. It was already huge, but we're taking over the whole warehouse. So we're just growing like crazy. And coach is doing a great job at not losing quality while he's growing. And we have a bunch of new guys that are coming to the gym, like Eric Anders just recently joined our gym and trained and stayed with me for 2 weeks, and now he's coming back tomorrow. So we just got more and more talent coming there. Between 170, 185, and 205, we are just stacked with glory fighters in there. The atmosphere is just great. We're all there for a purpose, to win belts, and it's not a hobby for us, it's a life. And the atmosphere is great, and Mark Montoya does an amazing job leading the pack.
It sounds good, man. Now, you've just said, Ian, that it's stacked full of talent right now in Factory X. So who have your main training partners been for this camp?
Chris Camozzi, who's like a 20-fight UFC vet, because he's a tall southpaw like Breeze. Sean Choice, who's a Glory fighter. He's I think he's top 10 at 170. And he's another tall southpaw. So these guys have been really helping me out. And then we got some up-and-coming guys that are in LFA. And then Anthony Smith, obviously, I've been training a lot with him. Dustin Jacoby, who fought for the Glory 185 belt, and he's also a UFC and Bellator vet. And Eric Anders is actually, for 2 or 3 weeks, he's been really helping me. Court McGee, I mean, the list goes on. We're stacked there. But for the most part, I've got Chris, Dustin, and Eric as the main southpaws that I've been training with.
Awesome, man. So who's going to be in your corner for this fight, Ian? We know it can sometimes be tricky getting multiple cornermen for fights overseas. So what setup do you have going into London?
It's still kind of up in the air, because of my Spanish problems. We were having issues with the visa, and Chris Camozzi's actually fighting in Russia on the same day, and coach originally was going to go with me. But because my fight was actually up in the air for a little while, but now it's on. We got it all figured out. And so I don't think Mark Montoya is going to make it, but my professor, Busy, our jiu-jitsu coach, and then Guy Gregory, who's just been with me forever, holding pads for me, he's going to come, and possibly Dustin Jacoby.
Awesome. So when do you actually fly out over here to the UK?
I plan on flying out next Sunday, the 10th.
Nice. Is that just to get a full week in there, get acclimatized, that sort of thing?
Yeah, acclimate to the time difference and just kind of get familiar with my surroundings. And yeah, it's always good to get out there a little early and just kind of just do your thing. Makes the weight cut a little bit easier, and I prefer it.
Yeah, it's a smart decision for sure. Now, let's talk about styles, because of course styles make fights. How much do you know about Tom Breese, and where do you feel your advantages will be in this fight?
I feel good wherever it goes. I'm going to really bring the fight to him. I feel like his other fights, the guys kind of stay on the outside and let him get confident in his striking. I feel like I'm going to push the pace on him, get in his face. I feel like he's a jiu-jitsu guy who now believes in his striking, which is got better. But until he, hits or finds someone who gets in his face and hits him, I believe he's going to result back to his jiu-jitsu, try to wrestle me. But I believe my jiu-jitsu is better, my wrestling, my striking. So wherever it goes, man, like fights can go anywhere, and I just roll with the punches and go with the flow, and I feel confident in all areas.
Absolutely. And is watching tape and film on your opponent something that you or your coaches do?
Yeah, I do it originally when I get the fight, maybe one more time, but mostly I let my coaches and my team take care of all that, train me accordingly. I don't focus on what my opponent's good at. I focus on what I'm good at, and I'm going to pose on him, and then it doesn't really matter what he does.
Sure. And in my opinion, this fight is definitely one of the best fights on the entire card at UFC London. So without giving too much away for obvious reasons, do you have a prediction for us, Ian?
Yeah, I'm expecting a first round knockout, but I'm ready for a 3-round war. So that's my predictions for the fight.
Awesome. And finally, Ian, I know you never want to look past the opponent, the upcoming fight, but with a win on March 16th, what's next for Ian the Hurricane Heinisch?
I'm gonna take a little vacation, go to Spain, where I used to live, and then I'm back in the gym, and I'll be ready for another huge opportunity, and hopefully someone in the top 15, and maybe one of those names I mentioned earlier.
Sounds good, man. Well, that's all she wrote. So what I'm going to do now, Ian, is I'm just going to give you the opportunity to shout out anything or anybody that you need to. So sponsors, coaches, training partners, family, friends. I know this puts a lot of fighters on the spot, but there's no rush here. Take your time, and the floor is yours.
All right, yeah. Of course, I want to thank Factory X and all my coaches there, Landau Performance, and all the coaches that helped me with my strength and conditioning. Obviously my friends and family, fans who support me wherever I go in this world, my girlfriend, Joni. And I want to give a shout out to all my sponsors: Illegal Pete's, Receptor Naturals, Eldorado, Restore Health Center, Denver Sports Recovery, Rad Roller, In the Cut, Jesse James Accounting, Relief Massage, Jamie Atlas, Pizzeria Calore, The Nils, and my manager, Jason House, and also Windward Way Recovery Rehab Center that sponsors me as well. Virus Apparel and King Apparel.
Well, once again, Ian, thank you for taking the time to talk to me tonight, and I wish you the best of luck on March 16th at UFC London.
All right, thank you so much.